What's up, guys? We're gonna do a quick and dirty overview of how to install the ZG Hydro in your car. I'm currently working on a more in-depth, like actual visual when we install this in Chase's car, and there's a bunch of different shots. I don't know how to edit that well yet, but I wanted to get y'all something at least in the short term. So I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna take out the shifter bezel and give you a better view of everything I'm describing. Ow. And yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so first thing you're gonna want to take out is your shifter bezel. That's the first thing that comes out before you take out anything else. But you're gonna want to take out the radio, which is gonna include this panel. So this panel actually is usually attached to the radio, sometimes it's not. But you're gonna take out this panel, the radio, and this climate control box. It's just the screws are here on the bottom. There's tons of videos on YouTube already to take out your radio, G35 through Z, all the same. It's all on there. So you're going to get everything out of here. And the first thing that you're going to have to trim is there's a bar, like a little plastic bar that just connects the center console here. And this guy here, it's another one. I didn't trim it in his car, and obviously it broke anyway. You can just cut it out. It makes it so much easier to take a drill and get it back there than have to fight around that thing. And it doesn't do anything. Like, obviously you can't even see it. It just connects the plastic trim up here. It's fine. So when you're first installing it, you're going to disassemble the whole handle, take the master cylinder out, take the handle off, everything. You want just the bracket. You're going to put the bracket in here, and what I do is I butt it up as far left as possible. So you're gonna want to butt it up, trim out all of this up to the bolt. I mean, you can kind of get an idea. Oh, let me get the light. You can kind of get a rough idea of what I cut exactly, but you don't have to cut the bolt. Just trim it up real nice and close. And then you want to put this in here against, actually, I skipped a step. So that bare spot is where just a small strip, like a sliver that long, of small strip of sound deadener that goes across it. All you gotta do is take a flathead screwdriver and slip up underneath it and pry it up. It comes off so easy. It's probably the easiest sound deadener I've ever had to take out. So that allows you to put it flat and snuck back, and it fits flat right here against the trans tunnel. And you're going to mark your holes. Try to be as precise as possible so that you don't have to make multiple holes by accident. But you're going to mark your holes, center punch them, and drill them through. So the first tip I'll give, to get that first bolt hole, you can't really see it. There's a bolt right here underneath the handle. That first bolt hole is best accessed through here. So you take this off and you can stick your hand up underneath and you can twist the nut on, or just hold the nut and then through the top bolt it in. You don't want to put the bolt this way because the bolt threads will stick up too high and it'll bottom out. It'll hit the bottom of the handle and cause issues. So you definitely want the bolt head going down, nut from the bottom, but you just do it right here. It's really easy. That's the simplest one. The back tube. Now, these, as you can see, are pointed upward. It's much easier if you have a second person here, and it's going to sound like extra work, but it's really not that bad. For those two bolts, dadgummit, I keep trying to. Anyway, for those two bolts, you're going to want to lower your transmission. All you're going to do is the 4 bolts that are on the crowner, the 4 bolts that are on the cross member, drop those 4 bolts and lower the transmission down just as much as it'll sag. It only got to come down a couple inches to give you a little bit more hand space to get up above it. You're gonna go from the bottom and put the nut, or put the bolt up through the transmission tunnel. So I'm just gonna tighten it from the top, and that's it. You bolt the transmission back up, and that's really majority of the way there already. Then you're gonna come in, before you put your master cylinder in, you want to get your feed line put onto the master cylinder and tucked up underneath of the back of the, you'll see it, it's like the HVAC right underneath there. There's like a gap that big. You want to snake your line under that, you have it come up to where it comes out right behind this plastic. So if you pop this vent off, let me get a better light. If you pop that vent off, it's just clipped in. You can pull the carpet backward. You pull the carpet off of this, it's gonna make accessing some of these bolts in here a little easier. I guess just this back corner one. Anyway, pull this carpet back, and you can run the line up behind and to the back. You can kind of see it poking out right there. And then up, and there's a grommet, a wire grommet at the top. I'll show you from the top in a second. But once you have that line fed and ran, you can bolt your master cylinder back on and have your Heim joint on, and then you can put the handle back into the bracket. And these spacers are reversible, so if you have left-hand drive or right-hand drive, but this is the orientation for left-hand drive. You want the handle as far to the left as possible. But after you have it all back assembled, this is a good point to start bleeding your hydro. Now you can go ahead and finish the full install, but you can get away with cutting a lot less of your shifter bezel if you know exactly how far it's going to pull. Obviously, we don't have the rear lines on his car yet, so it's not bled. There's a ton of travel in the master cylinder. So you definitely want to, regardless, you definitely want to bleed the master cylinder without this on, because you're going to want that full stroke. But you're not going to use that much stroke when you're actually drifting. It's only going to move about this much. It's not much at all. So at this point, run the rest of your lines and bleed it. This is the part where you will trim your shifter bezel. So as you can see, this one's kind of big. It doesn't have to be this big, and could definitely be like super precise and close. On his car, I attempted to have a like paper template layout for you guys based on another trim I had. Unfortunately, depending on where you put it, like you can very easily either cock it slightly sideways or put it off just about a 1/4 inch or so. Like it doesn't take much to throw it off from what the template would be. So the template, it would have got y'all in the ballpark, but it would have been clean. It wouldn't have been nearly as clean as just doing it this way. So I'm gonna show you how I have done it each time I've done this cut so far. You get your measuring tape, and you're going to take it roughly off the center or off the edge and just subtract 1/4 inch, about half of the handle width. And you're going to eyeball from the center to the edge of the trim. And I'm looking at about 1.5 inches. All right. So now you're going to come over here and you kind of go off of the edge of the trim, but come in a little bit, or come off of it a little bit, just because you're kind of eyeballing off of this back side, not the top. So we'll call it 1 3/8 off the top, and that's the center mark. So as you can see, we're way heavy on the left side of this cut because the template put us on the right side and we had to shave it to the left quite a bit. So this technique gets you much closer, much cleaner cut. And now you can either put this up here and kind of visually eyeball where your center of the cut is going to be, but I can pretty much guarantee all of you guys are going to be right in the middle of this bend somewhere. So I would start with about 1 inch to 1.5 inch long cut right where your mark would be, and just start there and work out from there, and that'll give you the cleanest cut. So nice. But you're going to want to take these grips off so that you can slide this up and over. See how wide that hole is? It shouldn't have to, like, you don't have to be wide enough to go around the grips. If you take the grips off, gives you just enough clearance to be able to fit that on. So you're going to want to get your hole started right in the center, either drill it. Actually, I'll just tell you, the best way is you're going to want to drill your center part and then take a Dremel, either on a Dremel tool, or take like a carbide burr on a drill and just start working it out from there. It's plastic, it's very thin, so it's very easy to shape. It doesn't take a lot of work or effort at all. And then as soon as you got it over the handle, you want to slip it down and basically just keep putting it in and out, until you got it nice and close. So this part, we designed this thing to get it out of the cabinet. For one, there's not a room down there and didn't want to have to make you trim anything to fit a reservoir. So the reservoir, sorry, let me put a light on it. The reservoir sandwiches in right behind the factory clutch master. Now, in order to run this line, you're gonna have to take out this whole trim piece, your windshield wiper, and remove this trim. Actually, I'm sorry, both wipers, and remove this trim piece. Because under here is where you're gonna find the grommet I was talking about. And what we did is make sure you be very careful, because there's a wire harness going through it. It's your body wire harness. You're going to want to drill through the top of it, the top section of it. You could either drill through the top opening, and you'll see it. It's a pretty chunk of harness with a big grommet around it. You can either drill through the top to get a pilot hole started, or you can pry it off and just go up and over. But if you don't have good seals up here, that will leak water. So you want to take a drill and just put a pilot hole in it, open it up just enough to get your line through, and then it's going to snake in, come down and around, and that's really it. And from here, you're all plumbed in. If you got dual calipers, you got to do that too. If you got inline, you might have 2 lines coming up to the front, depending on which kit you went with. But at that point, you're pretty much done. So that was the quick and dirty install for the hydro in your Z or G chassis. I apologize if that was really quick and dirty. I'm working to get the actual install video where we did the install on this car uploaded, but can't promise when. Time's pretty limited right now, so very soon. We're working on it. If you have any questions throughout the process, don't hesitate to reach out, either DM in the comments or on Instagram, or even the sales website or sales email on the website, and I'll be happy to help. Anything I can answer for you, make it a little easier, but it's pretty straightforward. It's a little bit more than just a plug and play setup, but the payoff when you do it nice and clean is just so good, so sick. So anyway, I hope this helps. Again, just reach out if you have any questions, and see you next time. Bye.